Welcome to my podcast, Extraordinary with Neman. My name is Neman and I'm your host. I'm extremely excited for my guest today. It's a very interesting story about how we met, and I cannot wait to share that with you. But she's a comedian, and now she's a content creator, captured the hearts of millions, and also an author of the book that not many eyes have seen, but we're going to have some exclusive information today. So please, let's welcome T. Sanders.
What's up, baby?
Hi.
I love how your name sound fast. Say it again.
Nemanja Golubovic.
Yum, yum, yum.
Listen, but then I named it Extraordinary with Neman so people don't have to suffer.
Yeah.
They don't have to go to
Yeah, no, Neman, we're going to leave it at Neman.
Yes, because once somebody called me Jumanji.
Jumanji?
Yes, from my name.
Now,
reading,
that's hilarious.
Yeah, so
You should have punched him in the face.
how's Chicago has been treating you?
Chicago been a little cold. It's getting chilly now.
Uh-huh.
I was born and raised here, but I haven't been home in like 17 years. So coming back to the city, it's cold. I ain't used to it.
Do you plan to stay?
Yeah, I think you got me for a winter.
Okay,
We'll see.
for a little bit. I had no idea you were born and raised in Chicago, and I didn't know. And you were just crossing my For You page at all times because baby video's been going viral, okay?
Period. We love that for us. Yeah.
Exactly. Millions and millions. Views. And I thought you were hilarious, and I already loved you, but I kept scrolling because for me, hilarious is not enough.
Okay, for me to follow. Okay. Oh, this is so cute. Yeah.
But when I did follow is when I realized hilarious and vegan.
Period.
That's enough.
Yes. Now we're family.
That's where you got me. So I followed you on Instagram for both of my profiles. And then one day you accidentally tagged me in some of your reels.
Yeah.
Because my name was similar with the actual person that you wanted to tag. And I just thought it was a destiny.
It was. No, when you was like, oh, yeah, I was like, yes, babe, I love you. Come on, let's do it.
And I messaged you
did.
and I invited you to kill my name.
And we ate so good.
It was fun.
Oh, we ate so good.
And that is where I learned that you were actually born and raised in Chicago. And I was like, it's such a great story. I want everybody to hear it. So tell me, where in Chicago were you born and raised? And tell me a little bit about your childhood. Growing up, how was it?
I was born on the west side. And then I moved to the south side when I was 9. I'm the oldest of now like 10 kids. So I grew up in a house full of my cousins, older cousins and younger cousins, and we grew up in the inner city. So we grew up tough. Well, and honestly, my cousins used to beat up on me because apparently I was soft. And I was like, yeah, I get it now because I'm soft now. But now I be ready to fight for no reason because of them. But growing up in the inner city, nothing really switches up. It's hard. It's not easy,
So you said that you said youngest or oldest of?
I'm the oldest.
Oldest of how many kids?
10.
10. And why I say cousins, like you're confusing me there.
Oh, no. So we grew up in a house full of cousins.
So it was you 10 siblings?
Oh, no, not by that time. By that time, it was probably like, I would say it was a house full of 13 kids. And like, my mom had 3 of us at that time. And then everybody else had their kids and their kids all there. But it was a house full of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like that? Did you have an opportunity to play with the cousins and like just enjoy and have a happy childhood? It seems like a lot of kids would bring you a lot of happiness.
You know what? You don't know. You in the hood, but you don't really know until you know, right? And so growing up in a house full of kids, it could be fun, but it could be just as stressful. I was right in the middle. So like my oldest cousin was like 2 years older than me. And then like the next one was like 2 years younger than me. So it was just me in that space. The older cousins didn't really play with me. So I was kind of always by myself for real. I tried to follow along, but I always kind of did my own thing, but I was the dancer. They used to call me superstar. I've always been this big personality, always.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, it was cool. I mean, it was rough, but it was a good time. As a kid, you don't know what you're going to do.
What do you say? What do you consider rough, and what do you think it was cool? Like, tell me what was your favorite part, and what are the parts that you're considering have been rough for you?
My favorite parts of my childhood, it was hanging out with my friends. But this
Mhm.
was after, like when I moved to the South Side, I started actually developing friends and who are my
Mhm.
family right now. I still have them 25-year friendships and stuff
Oh,
like
that's
that.
beautiful.
Um, the worst part is I was in a abusive home,
Uh-huh.
and our family's just not affectionate. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like not too emotionally available and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
um, I would look for that outside of my home, and I've been blessed to come across a lot of moms from my friends. I just connected I'll come in your house and I'll be like, hey ma,
Mhm.
and so but yeah, that's the hard part, not being um nurtured as
Mhm.
much as you should be, you know what I mean? Or my mom was a single mom, she was rarely home, so I helped out with the kids a lot. They were my responsibility.
Mhm.
And then, sexual abuse, trauma, it's a lot that happens, that's happened in my childhood that I've had to try to like overcome.
Mhm.
But I think once you start going through therapy, it's just like okay, it subsides. But dealing with all that stuff growing up, it's not easy. That's the hard part. Going through the
Yeah.
motions.
Of course, and especially now you said abusive family, and you
Hmm.
also mentioned sexual abuse. Did things
Hmm.
happen to you,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
oh,
it did.
uh,
And I come from a lot like it's unfortunately a cycle of sexual abuse, through
mhm,
generations ahead. So, or physical or emotional.
mhm.
So it was a cycle of abuse in my family for
And was
sure.
it a family member?
Yeah, it was
And how old were you?
like eight, eight.
8?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. And were you able to communicate that with your
No,
mom to explain?
no, I don't think I told anyone until I was like 16. Way after that. Um, because grooming is a thing.
Uh-huh.
Grooming is huge in the community, and so like you don't know it's happening, but it's not right. You're so young, your brain can't calculate it, and this is your favorite cousin, so you're confused on why it's happening. And it's
Uh-huh.
not until you get older where you realize, because your brain will block things out, you know what I mean, to protect
Uh-huh.
you. And so yeah, I didn't start really dealing with that until I was like 16 years old, 17 years old. And then now, through therapy, I've been
Mhm.
I've forgiven, because it's not my burden to carry. That is not on me to hold.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it was hard. It was hard. And then you still got to put on a face because you don't want to tell on them. You don't
Yeah.
know if you can. You don't know if anybody will believe you because they tell you they won't. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it wasn't easy.
So at the 8 years old, you probably believed it's normal because you don't know what's normal, what it's not. You
Yeah,
don't like 8-year-old children doesn't understand what you're supposed to do with a cousin and what you're not.
yeah.
So what you're saying is like that you basically were not even realizing that what your cousin was doing to you.
Not
Not
originally. And
uh,
then like once it started going on and I started saying no, it was being threatened that it'll happen to someone else then. If I didn't,
uh-huh,
so then that's when I became such a protector of my family and stuff
uh-huh.
like that. But then you learn like, oh, you can't, you can't save people, you know what I mean? But I was on lock with I have younger siblings and I have my cousins all here and he's telling me if you don't, then I'll go get one of them. And it's like mind play.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it was like no way out until I moved. Until we moved. Once we moved. But then I like developed a stutter after that because it was like a breakup. You grieve. You
Yeah.
get so used to it for so long. It's like you don't know what to do with your life when you're away. It's kind of like escaping, but you're still so locked in.
Mhm.
And then you're the only one that knows. You and that person.
Uh,
So it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to navigate. And then you dealing with that, you become promiscuous. They think you're fast, but you're just like
mm,
you don't know what you're doing. It's just like there's a hole there. There's a void that needs to be kind of filled in, some
mhm,
type of normalcy in being sexually hypersexual.
mhm.
Yeah.
And you said it was happening till the moments that you moved. How old were you in the moment?
It's like I was like 9.
So
Yes.
it lasted for about a year.
Yeah, but that's as far as I can remember. When did it start? Who knows? You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? But as I can remember, I was like, okay, from like 8. I remember.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you said that there were moments when you were saying no, but it was still happening
Oh
because
yeah.
you had no option to.
Yeah, yeah. The only option was that or someone else have to struggle, like get abused. No, I didn't want that.
And you were at such a young age already understanding that you needed to protect
Absolutely.
the family member.
Absolutely. All family. Yeah.
Oh,
Which is now why I'm slightly a psycho now about my people. I don't think about the people I love. Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm very protective. Very. But I've let go of the reins. I know I can't control people in their lives. I can't protect everyone, but I'm very protective. Yeah.
It's just unfair for the 8 years old to have to carry that and to have to feel like protector of the family when 8-year-old child should be protected.
I agree.
And then when you said like basically 8 years later, when you are 16 years old, you fully understood
What happened?
what happened, what you went through,
I
and
was sex ed class. I was in sex ed.
So
and they were talking about like molestation and I don't know if you could say the R word, molestation and the R word. And I was like, and I was like, oh no, I walked out of class. I was like,
And who you spoke with?
I think the first person I spoke with was my best friend. I told her, and then I told the counselor at my high school at the time. Because I struggled through school. I didn't know I'm now diagnosed with like severe anxiety, ADHD. I'm on a spectrum, you know what I mean? But that was as of last year where I, actually went to look. But I suffered through high school and stuff like that. I had an 0.8 GPA, okay? I passed one class. But because focus, it was not, I'm smart, but keeping my attention and, I didn't know I was struggling. But so my counselor was actually the first one to say, you should get checked out. I'm like, no, I'm not going to get checked out. But she saw me. And so we broke down. She was just like, you got so much on you. You got so much on you, so much burden on you. And then she asked me, she like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I said, I don't see myself making it to 18. I didn't. I was hanging out with the work. I had great people.
Why did you think that way? Do you like what you were thinking that will prevent you from living till 18?
Yeah, it's just,
like yourself.
I didn't look forward to life. I didn't look forward to anything. I didn't get excited about stuff. I knew the people I was hanging out with were involved in things. I had a whole extra life outside of what people seen, and so I was just trying to find a home, really find protection is what I was looking for. My dad is a great father, but he was only on the weekends, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't have that connection with him like that, even though he was so good to me. I didn't have that with him where I was like, I can go to him to save me or protect me, or I can tell him, because he would have. So it really wasn't him. It was just me not
communicating.
Yeah, not being able to communicate, for sure.
And now that you say only on the weekends, so your parents were separated, right?
Oh, yeah, they were never together.
Oh, so they were never together.
I'm the product of, a one-timer.
And, but you still managed to have the connection with your father, and you said you were going on the weekends, and the rest of the time you were spending in the house with your mom,
correct,
right?
Yeah.
Have you ever lived with your father?
1 year. And it was so exhausting. I hated it.
Why?
Because my dad was great, but his house had structure. And people did homework. And he picked me up and dropped me off every single day. I had perfect attendance. Never experienced that a day in my life. I wasn't responsible
Those are good
for
things.
You would think, but like my siblings, we all got split up. So I don't know where my sisters are. But mind you, now I'm like, I have anxiety because I don't know who's with my family, where they are and what they're doing, and who's doing anything, and are they safe? So I'm miserable there because I don't have I can't see.
And were you able to remain in touch?
Yeah, we'll call, but that wasn't enough for me. Because I'm like, I know how many times I didn't say anything. So are they going? Who? You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. Are they going through something?
yeah.
Okay. And
I
then
had my siblings with me everywhere I went. They were always right here by my side. My sisters and my brother. He was roaming the street somewhere, but he came home
so you said it's all the sisters and one brother. Is that what you said?
at that time. Yeah, my mom had. So I have siblings on my dad's side, but they, I didn't have to I didn't have to watch over them the way I had to watch my mom's kids. So I had my mom had 3 girls, including me, and then 1 boy. Now she has my baby brother as well, but he wasn't around then. It was just my 2 little sisters and my little brother.
And then after that 1 year living with your father, were you the one who asked to leave, or like what?
Yeah, my mom had came back and she said, she was home and she was getting the girls, and I was like, oh, I'm moving back. That's it. And my dad, he didn't want me to, because I had did a little bit better. I had like a 2.5. I was doing better, and he seen it, but he also saw that I was miserable, and he beats himself up about it all the time. Like, I shouldn't have let you go. But he also, my dad's one of my best friends. He didn't want to see me like struggling, because I was struggling. I would get off the phone with my mom, and everything would change. Like, my whole mood would change, my whole energy would change, and I'll just be so sad. And it was constant, and that would eat him up. So, but I had to go back. I had to make sure they were okay.
Okay. And you also mentioned that your happiest memories from childhood are actually with your friends.
Yeah.
Tell me about your friends.
My friends, my squad is dope. Yeah, my squad is dope.
What did you do?
Learned, we did everything we weren't supposed to do. You know what I mean? I was always a huge flirt, and we just had fun times. We just roamed the streets, like, especially in high school. We just roamed the street. Like, I didn't go to my high school. I went to my friend's high school. I barely knew anybody in my high school. I knew everybody in my friend's high school. Like, I was always is my best friend. They're one, and they were all connected to her, and then we all became very close.
So you were missing attendance in your own school because you were spending time at the school, just not at yours.
Not mine. Yeah. No, my best friend was my safe space. I was good, So yeah, we would once we got a car and stuff like that.
Why didn't you try to relocate the school so?
Because she went to a college prep.
And
you had to test for that. And even though I tested well, I knew I wasn't about to do no work. I just wanted to be around them. I didn't care about that school. But no, we just had a great time, man. Can we curse here? Do we curse on this?
I don't.
BSing. We're just BSing. That's it, Flirting with guys, having a ball, just dancing. I'm a big dancer,
I love that.
I love that. And just being in her house and her family and stuff like that, they took me in. Like, we just had a great time. Great time.
Okay.
And then I went to Job Corps. I dropped out at 16.
You dropped what at 16?
I dropped out of high school at 16.
You dropped, and what was the word that you used? I didn't understand.
Job Corps. I went to Job Corps. Shout out to Job Corps.
What that means?
It is a program that assists kids from ages, or people, young adults from the age of 16 to 24 to get their diplomas online or their GEDs, and they also assist you with a trade and help you with getting a job after. Yeah. So I went there at 17.
Okay, you went there in 17, and were you able to get then?
I got my GED. Yeah, I got like 2 trades. I ended up moving to Boston, getting another one, getting a job. They set you up. I mean, if you do the program correctly, they set you up. They pay your first month's rent. They pay for your stay. It's a beautiful program, and you make lifelong friends. I made lifelong friends.
Wonderful. And then you mentioned you even went to Boston. Is that the first time that you left Chicago to live somewhere else?
First time leaving Chicago. Yeah. Changed my life. I moved to Boston at 19. Changed my life.
Tell why do you say that? Why did Boston did change your life?
Chicago's really segregated if you understand it. You know what I mean? So you got blacks here, you got whites here, Hispanics here. Everything else, right? And so I didn't see many interracial relationships. I didn't see many people from different, like my elementary school and my high school, one of the high schools I went were all black. When I moved with my dad, that's the first time I seen like a white kid in the school. It was exhausting. I didn't understand it. Totally different worlds. And so Boston, you had so many people from the islands, from New York, from Rhode Island. I mean, it's a program for everyone. And I just had never, I think I got off the plane and I seen a white girl and an Asian guy kiss. And I was like, I have never, what is going on? And so once you get, it was a culture shock. But then you start to realize how the people are in different parts of the world. And, you know, a lot of my people hadn't left Chicago ever. I'm 19 on my own, or I had friends out there from Chicago, and we were just roaming and tearing up the city.
So for the basically majority of your childhood life, you were only friends with other black kids.
Yeah.
And the school was also
all black. And then when I went to my dad.
See, I would not expect that from Chicago, though.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. Depending on what Chicago you're at. There's multiple Chicagos. It's two. It's what the world see and what it is. You know what I mean? Like inner city.
Okay. Well, then I do have to ask you, like when growing up that way, that you were kind of all surrounded by the same race as you did, and I grew up that way because where I'm from, like we're just, all one single race. There's absolutely no, as you say, like interracial couples, or anything like that. So I was learning about it, and we were learning through the schools, and they were literally lessons where in the world that exist this many different races, and then you had to name them all and stuff. But I have never seen people that exactly.
Wow.
But you in Chicago could at least see.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You on a train and you passing downtown. That's where the white people at. You know what I mean? Once you hit 35th, it's gonna get a little white. A lot of white, and then black again. It's like black, white, black. That's how it went. So you seen them, you just didn't really deal with them, Were
you taught that way, not to deal with them, or
Well, I was raised partially Muslim, where I was learning about slavery very early, and and just how white people have dealt with us. So I was my take on white people were extremely different compared to my constituents, you know what I mean? To my friends and stuff like that. I just had a more how can I say this?
More reserved, more
yeah, it was just, I didn't trust them. I grew up learning not to trust white people.
Yeah, and that's understandable because you said you learned at a very young age about do you remember learning about it? It's it's just
it stuck with you, in that household, and it's beautiful because we were taught to love and put ourselves on the pedestal, So when I went to the high school and I was hanging out with some of these white people, and I was like, oh, they're kind of cool, and so I had gained. Shout out to Janie. I had my first white friend. I'll never forget her. Janie was adorable, and it did it just a couple of them, and I was like, oh, all right, this is different. Because when I went through the school, I thought I went the wrong way because I didn't have a metal detector. That's my understanding. I grew up in the inner cities. You need metal detectors. For high school, you go through a metal detector, you put your back on a conveyor belt, and then you get wand down. That is how you got through school. It was TSA every day.
Oh, goodness.
Right? And so I go to the high school in the suburbs, and you just walk in. I didn't feel safe. I'm like, anybody can have a gun here. You know what I mean? They's like, that's not happening here. I'm like, you guys are not safe. And so when I moved to Boston, more, different types of people and stuff. And I remember asking a white girl, can I feel your hair? You always hear the opposite where they they want to touch black people's hair. No, I want to feel white people's hair. I was like, oh my God.
Okay. Well, I love learning about it, and I love how different kids are experiencing different ways and learning about slavery. And I think it's so important, especially since some people in power are trying to erase it and erase the history and not teach our kids about it, which like it's so wrong. And one of the reasons I always ask these questions on the podcast, because like I want to know. For me, it was an absolute shock. I shared it before. I learned in the movie. Like I watched the movie with my family from that covers that times. And I was not understanding the movie. I couldn't understand what was going on. That's when I started asking questions. My mom and like my parents also were very not well prepared for me asking those questions, so they didn't know how to answer. And I was in absolute shock and even some sort of fear, which is wild that I felt afraid because like I was an affected one. But it just scared me to know that human being can be brought in a position like that and the world is just fine with it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then, even fast forward, they're telling you, get over it. When it's already, I look at it like a game of chess versus checkers. It's a game of chess. The way that you deconstruct an entire community, it's not just overnight, Yeah, it's a mental. So the things that came with slavery, the breaking down of the black man and the black family, right? You had to do it from here because you can break someone physically, but if you break someone emotionally and spiritually, it's completely different. And so now my generation and the generations, and now we're on our kids, right? So I'm a millennial, so now we at Gen Z. Oh, no, we got Gen A's now.
Gen Alpha.
Yeah, Gen Alpha is a thing.
Yeah.
And so, but we're still dealing with the trauma of our ancestors because it just rolled down. I believe that spiritually we're all very still connected to it.
Absolutely. The reason it's rolling down is because we are not fully free yet.
That's it.
And that's the biggest issue, because I feel like once we do achieve the total freedom and no black kid needs to be in fear or treated differently, I think that's the generation after may come and to be with no trauma from it.
Maybe.
Because
you will hope so.
Like I really we cannot know, because like as I said, we're not there yet. We absolutely don't have that freedom. Like we moved a long way, which like does make me happy. But we see how much more we have to go.
Absolutely. Like, and that, now our generation is saying, okay, therapy. Okay, therapy. Before that, our older generation was like, no, we didn't talk to people. So now gentle parenting is a thing. And, just you can tell it's softening. Everything is just becoming more soft and gentle.
I have my different opinions about gentle parenting, but I'm not going to be sharing those. It's not a topic, but I do. I'm
here for it.
But I do want to learn about your therapy journey. You did not start that when you think you needed it on time. Like it took you a while to.
I did therapy a few times. After my son passed, I did. And a couple of times in between it. But I played my therapist. I masked well. You learn how to mask. I learned how to mask very early, and so I just wasn't ready. It wasn't.
So you were going in therapy that you're not being honest.
I wasn't being honest. I wasn't being vulnerable. I was being honest. I wasn't being vulnerable. You know what I mean? So how you doing? Oh, I'm good. You sure? Yeah, I'm great. Oh yeah, I dealt with this, but then I dealt with this, and oh, I felt this, and then I did this, But it wasn't until last year when I got into therapy where I was just like, "How you doing?" I'm not, I got over it. I was exhausted. It was time. It was time to be honest. It's time to be vulnerable. It was time to open up,
and how much that has helped you.
So much, man. Shout out to my therapist. She's just giving me the tools. I have not felt as seen. Because you're like, oh yeah, I did with this, and then someone's telling you like, no, there's a reason. It's connected to this, and you're like, oh, I thought it was just me. Because you're not talking about your struggles. You're not talking about your challenges. Then you learn to laugh at them. I'm a comedian. You know, I'm a laugh. I laugh about everything. But then when someone connects it, you're like, oh. Or somebody say, it wasn't your fault. You're like, oh. Because I took it all, right? I took it all. I'm a person to take accountability, but I also don't like blaming people, right? So it's like, oh, well, maybe he wouldn't have done that if I didn't. Or, you know what I mean? It's easier for me I'm my worst critic. I'm my biggest bully. I am that. I always be like, oh, this
And
way,
blaming yourself
For
for
sure.
the things that
for sure.
you did
that
not
happened
have
to
much
me.
control over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And my therapist helped me realize that, oh no, these people played a part too, and you didn't know better. And this is why you didn't know better, and it's okay, you know? Once she's helped me become a better friend to myself, better friend to me. Yeah.
I want to go back to high school. I want to ask you some questions there because you mentioned you love to dance, to flirt with the boys. So tell me about your first dating experience.
Dating, I don't think I started dating until my late 20s to early 30s.
So it wasn't happening in high school?
No, I was just having sex. I didn't know anything about dating or like courting, and all that. I just was like,
But did you feel
boy
attached
crazy.
to any of those
Never
people?
felt attached, really. I think the first guy I loved, that was the first emotional something I had, and then he kind of cheated on me, so forget him. But then after that, that was it. I don't think I connected to another guy until my son's father, and there was a lot of guys in between, you know, because I wasn't finding myself. I didn't know I was gay. Contrary to what everybody believed, my people threw my throwing out party, my coming out party. They threw that for me. Like I was lost, you know. I thought, and it wasn't until I was dating women that I was dating women.
And then tell me, because that's so interesting that you so late came on board with like being gay. So were you considering that as an option in high school and in those years, as you said, that you was just having sex with the boys?
Just having sex. Yeah, no, I see a guy, I'm like, oh, he's cute. Let's do it. You know, it was
And that was enjoyable for you.
not enjoyable, actually. It was
Then
just
why
normal.
were you doing it?
It was just normalcy. I learned very early, unfortunately, that men are attracted to me in that space. So I think it was like me getting in control of it, right? Like I got the reins. I'll tell you that we're having sex, not you trying to flirt with me and try to get it. I'll give it. You know what I mean? That was my way to just kind of. I used to have like guy friends, and I'll just have sex with my friends because I was like, let's get this weird tension out the way. It made me uncomfortable, so I just wanted to be in charge. Yeah.
But you said that you particularly did not enjoy it, but it was just like a
Yeah, I did not enjoy it.
like activity
You know,
that
after having like, being an adult now, it's just like, oh, there's sex and then there's sex, and so I was just having sex, it was just very nothing connected to it at all.
And you said it took you then along to actually have a real connection with a guy, and then it did happen with someone that you end up having kid with. Tell me about him.
Yeah, my son's father, I had a crush on him since like, I'd say high school, but it's Job Corps. We met in Job. He was a friend of mine. He's the brother of a friend of mine. And I just always crushed on him. I thought he was so cute, and then we just always flirted and kind of stayed in touch. And then I was like 21. We started dating. He asked me to be his girlfriend, and I think I got pregnant like the next day. I was like, oh yeah, we're together. Okay, baby. And so I didn't know I was pregnant, honestly. I found out I was pregnant on accident. My best friend was like, you haven't gotten your period yet. I said, yeah, girl, I've been stressed. She's like, I think you should go take a pregnancy test. I was like, a pregnancy test? And so I was like, oh, girl, like, I'll humor you, right? And so I went and grabbed up two. I said, I'm going to get the most expensive one. And then I got a first response, and then I took it, and we went in there, and it was like it was like 1.5. And I see that one that barely there. She said, it's not supposed to be there at all, baby. I was like, what does that mean? Like, you're pregnant. So I went and smoked a cigarette because I was like, there's 2 tests in this box. I need to check the other one. And then the other one said yes. And I mean,
what was your reaction?
I had no clue. And it was so early. I had no clue. So I called him. I said, what's 1 + 1? He said 2. And I said, well, really it's 3 because I'm pregnant. Like, that's how I told him. And he's like, pregnant? And I said, yep. And
how old was he?
He's like a year older than me. So
like
21,
22, 20. Oh.
21, 22, yeah, something like that.
Young. And
we were kids.
And what was your reaction? Were you afraid? Were you
Was I afraid? I never wanted kids. Never wanted kids. Never wanted marriage. Never wanted. And so I was terrified. I was like, what am I going to do with a kid? I ain't a mom. I don't know how to be a mom. I'm not going to be a good mom. I'll be like, I'm. And yeah, I was, for the first 3 months, I was just horrified. I was just like, oh, I don't want to be pregnant, but I didn't believe in abortions. It's crazy what you don't believe in until you're in that position. And you're like, man, I was almost at the chop shop, and and then something changed. You go into the second trimester, and then you feel the little flutters, and you're like, wow.
Can I ask you why you say you didn't believe? Was it like religion? Was it
what? In abortions?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think I just grew up with a bunch of people that didn't believe in it. I think it was kind of frowned upon. Now I believe in choice. I get it. It's a hard decision whether you do it or not.
Absolutely.
It's a lifer or a lifer. Either you got to deal with it for the rest of your life that you made that decision, or you got to deal with it and take care of that kid. So yeah, now pro-choice, whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? And I didn't get it until I was put in that position. 21, I could barely pay my own bills. I'm on my own. You know what I'm saying? I'm not with my son's father, like for real. Like he's in a different state. What am I do? I could barely pay my own rent. So I get it. But yeah.
But you decided to proceed with a pregnancy.
I did.
And you got a baby boy, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I found out I was having a boy. And then I was so excited because I just knew they was gonna have a girl. And I was crying when I found out I was having a boy. She said, "You wanted a girl?" I said, "No, I wanted a boy because I can't raise no girl. I barely know how to raise myself." And so then, yeah, I had started getting sick. Went to the hospital, emergency room, was turned back twice. Stayed sick for another week. Went back to see my OB and almost died. They had misdiagnosed me twice with some type of, they just was shooing me off really, but.
Were you pregnant this entire time?
I'm pregnant, yeah. I'm pregnant. I'm telling them something's not right. And then went to my OB and I just remember them she was like, either you have 3 things, either appendicitis, gallbladder or something, or kidney stones, something like that. But really what it was is my appendix had ruptured and I was septic. I almost died. And I had to have like 2-3 blood transfusions. I had drains stuck in my side. And I'm pregnant this whole time. And so, yeah, I think I was in the hospital like a week before my son passed during birth. Yeah.
So it happened on birth.
Yeah. Yeah, because he was breached. So like feet first, he was coming out feet first, and he passed at the head.
And what was your reaction to that?
My initial reaction, it was the first time I had a out of body experience. People don't believe it's true, but I watched myself scream. I watched myself like lose it, while telling myself, "Calm down, it's okay." I had held my dad. My dad, he was in the military at the time. He was in Afghanistan. When I had originally got sick, he came. He was there to hold his grandson, and my stepmom came. My sister came. My mom had been flying. I worked for the airlines back then, so they flew my mom in, and yeah, I held my son for like an hour. When my dad got there, that's when it was real for me. And I was holding my son, and he was just like, "Let me see my grandbaby." He was like, "Oh, look at my lip." You know what I'm saying? We got big lips in this family. And I remember holding him, and my dad was like, "All right, baby, it's time." You know, he's not there, you know? And he took him, and I hadn't never seen him again until I seen him in the urn. So, yeah. It's deep. If I wasn't like a comedian, slightly of a psycho, it probably would get me every time. But I think you just learn how to say the hard stuff. Yeah, it's not easy. I grieve like any mother. Every Mother's Day, I get calls, and his birthday's December, a few days after Christmas. So around like holidays, because I have PTSD from it. I became a hypochondriac. I was scared because I didn't trust nobody. Doctors, you realize that they're just humans with a little more education than you, but they can get it wrong, especially if you got humans that do not understand what it's like to be a Black woman. Unfortunately, I became a statistic of Black women who have close to fatal pregnancies because white people didn't see them, but it was hard. I grieve all the time. But I think what makes it easier is because I actively move like I'm a mother, right? So in my mind, I have an almost 13-year-old, so it makes it easier for me not to make bad decisions. I stopped smoking. I used to smoke cigarettes. I stopped smoking cigarettes because I was like, my son wouldn't like it. So I move like he's still here, for sure.
Now that we are talking about him, I do want to immediately get to the book.
Yeah! Wow!
I want you to show it to me. And I want you to tell me all about it. We'll talk about your vegan journey. I have questions about that too.
Yes.
But show the book. Let's point it. Yes, let's do it over here. We're going to point it to this camera over here.
I'm vegan. Naz's first day at school.
No, I'm vegan.
No, I'm vegan.
Yes, I like that. And this is illustration of what you think your son would look like today. And there is a lot of... tell me what it's book about. It's the first day at school.
First day at school, yeah. And that's my little message to my son in the front, in the very beginning. What is it? Yeah, next page.
Over here.
Yep.
It says, I dedicate this book to my angel. Thank you for inspiring me to inspire others. Love, Mommy, always and forever.
Yeah. So that's my book. I imagined what it would be like because, I'm vegan. And I was like, my son would be vegan. And I was like, I wonder what that would have been like, him growing up, him going to school and stuff like that. And so this book really got written in an hour. Of course, it got edited because, I'm a great writer, but like some stuff that had to get changed. But yeah, it was done. And so that's the first of the series. No, I'm Vegan is a series. So it'll be other activities and events that he'll do and have to overcome and like challenges that he'll have to overcome. But yeah, that's the first of the series.
Well, now I do have to ask about your vegan journey because I said I was so pleasantly surprised. Tell me, when did you turn to veganism and what was the reasoning behind it?
September of 2016, I became vegan. Prior to that, so I was pre-diabetic and really big. I was like 260, and I was in an abusive relationship, and it was just bad. And I just remember the doctor telling me hey, it's getting bad, we're pre-diabetic. And I kind of grew up in a very holistic home, in a holistic community. So I knew that I was like, if I got diabetes, would I take, what is it?
Insulin.
Insulin. Would I do that? Because I know I was like, I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would. Because, you know what I mean? Like, I don't do medication. I do, more homeopathic options or.
Yeah, it's like I got a flu, I'm going to have a soup.
Some cayenne or something to knock it out.
That's how my mom used to cure me too. That's why I will say no to like Tylenol.
Yeah.
No.
And so
I'll drink water.
Yeah.
I'll go away.
I'll be all right. Now listen, there's been times where I was like, oh, I got to knock this out. We're going to try whatever at this point. But so yeah, I just knew. I was like, all right. So then I started to look up Dr. Sebi. Or Sabi, depending on
how they
alkaline veganism and stuff like that. Vegan wasn't lost on me. It wasn't foreign to me because I had some vegans in my family already on my mom's side. So I've always been the only fat one in the family for real, except for my dad's side. That's what we're all plumped and hefty over there. But my mom's side, I'm the big one. And so I'm the big and gay one. That's the fun part. And so
we still didn't even touch the gay part.
Right?
Goodness, there's so much to talk about.
Oh my God, it's so much.
Let's do the vegan part.
Yeah, and so I was like, I started looking them up, and then it was like, let food be thy medicine. And I was like, okay, well, let me transition. So in 2015, I started like, all right, no more beef and pork.
Step by step.
Turkey, no more turkey. Okay, now I'm pescatarian, but I don't like seafood. So okay, that's going. And then I became vegan September 2016.
So it seems like your primary reason was your health.
It was. But once that happened, I mean, everything just shifted. Once you go vegan, it's like, oh man, my deodorant or my lotions or this person or, you know what I mean? You start to really like detox everything. It's like, this doesn't feel good to me, you know? It changed my life for real.
So you applied it on other aspects of your life, not just via food, but also
everything.
Through the,
But I'm not like a vegan. I'm not that, you know? But I am pretty vegan,
Okay. And then tell me, you said it's changed your life. Like, what are some of the benefits of veganism, like that you experience?
Skin.
I like, look at that.
The skin is a thing. I definitely got a glow. I used to have IBS. I don't have that anymore. I just feel better. We could eat all day and not feel like
energy. It's the big thing.
We can eat we can eat a big meal and not feel like dead on the inside. I have been looking more into eating for my blood type. And which is a whole nother thing, but I'm never going back to meat. Now I don't think dairy either. I notice the difference when I have
dairy. It's the worst.
I know the difference when I feel dairy in my body. I know it. I know when there's been cross contamination of dairy. My whole system here, just everything flares. I'm like, nah, it's foreign. It's foreign.
Dairy, it's the worst. It's like, I think I spoken on this podcast previously about that. I literally think it's worse than the actual meat. I think it's so wrong for our bodies. There are so many people out there who are lactose intolerant. That should be a really good indicator for us that it's not meant for humans. Also, people who don't break in hives immediately, it's silently killing us all. It's just one of the biggest enemies of the humanity, of the human health. And goodness, not to even speak about awful hell that animal goes through in a dairy industry. It's worse than being killed for food because it's a years of torture.
Absolutely.
Absolute torture.
And I'm not even a huge animal person, right? Like, I'm not an animal person. Like, it's not my thing. I can tolerate dogs, but that's about it. But I've seen those, like, them poor babies, like, because you can't tell me that you don't become what you eat. You can't tell me. They,
It's literally that, but so where I get so confused is because so many people believe in energy, and people believe when somebody negative enters the room that it spreads the negative energy
Absolutely.
around, right? Or like, oh,
Absolutely.
your energy, like, oh, you're in a bad mood. You're like, don't bring me your negative energy. They believe in all of that, but when you tell them that they're carrying the tortured and traumatized energy from a dead body inside of them, then they refuse to believe that energy
absolutely.
transfers. I was like, how will you believe that transfers across the room, but you will not believe that transfers with a tortured dead body inside of you? That animal didn't want to die.
Let me tell you something. What drives me nuts is the animals the people pick and choose to eat. Excuse me. Like, oh yeah, I eat a chicken, but I want to eat a horse. I'll eat a pig, but I won't eat a dog. Like, it's like you justify which animal is edible. You know what I mean? When they're all animals.
And they're all edible.
They're all edible. Everything is, so you won't eat your dog? No, that's inhumane.
We humans are edible too.
Yes, they are. And then we look at cannibalism like, oh, never. What are you doing? It's the flesh of a flesh of a flesh, you know? And I literally was like looking at a chicken once, and I was like, why? You know, I seen this woman collecting it was a hen, and I guess the hen produced too many eggs or too many babies. And he's like, oh no, we're gonna take half of these. I was like, that poor mother. That's somebody's mother, you know? And now I'm like, no, protect the animals. You know what I mean?
We have to, and they're so sweet, and like and you being a mother and going through what it feels like to have your child taken away from you. All the other species are feeling the love for their ones the same way that we humans do.
I can't even go into a zoo. I was dating this girl, and we took our daughter to the zoo, and I started crying. I said, oh, I'm too damn vegan now. I'm getting, like, I don't know what's happening, but I mean, I'm looking at this little, I think it was a mother chimp, and her kid was playing, and the mother was just sitting there like this. And I was like, do anyone else feel this? And then there was a tiger, and the tiger was growling, but it was like, rah, rah. I was like,
they're in prison.
Get me out of here. Get me out of here. I don't want no parts. I don't want no parts. I ain't been to a zoo in 8 years.
It is beautiful that we develop that special connection with animals after going vegan.
Yeah.
And, you know, humans are compassionate in general, and everybody has an empathy and compassion. But the special one happens after that, after knowing that I would want you free, or I wouldn't eat you, or like I always say now when I see a cow, like I'm all like I want to say hi, and it's just
and you just respect them more. You just respect their journeys more, you know, because you're literally being produced to be consumed, but not by the natural order of things, not by other animals. We're the animals. We're the wild animals looking to attack you. It's crazy to me.
We are the wildest one out
Imagine, like, you know what I mean? And so they're no different than...
I saw once this quote that said, if animals formed on religion, human would be a devil.
Oh, that's tough.
And it
would. We'd be the Antichrist so bad. Yeah.
And it absolutely is true. If animals had an organized religion, the devil would be human.
Oh.
And isn't that sad?
It's tough.
And how is that not enough for every human out there to be like, I don't want to be devil to anyone?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really, unless you're born into it, it is some knowledge you have to find out on your own. You know, I still ain't never watched What the Health because I had became vegan by the time it came out. But I heard it changed some lives.
It did.
I heard it changed a lot of people's lives.
It's good. I always encourage people to go and watch What the Health because it's very informative. it's science-based. So it's not like now you and I all in our feelings over here saying
this
how
is
we
numbers.
feel. This is like science,
Yeah.
like broken down to the science, pure facts.
Yeah.
Right? So like it absolutely changed a lot of lives, because that's when you got familiar with a special part is that like a lot of people think that they inherited diseases. And it's not actually true. The thing is, people ate the same thing. Like the son ate what father ate.
Yeah.
That's why they developed the same disease.
Habits. Your habit is hereditary, for sure.
I recently had my aunt pass away, and my aunt was she became my aunt by marrying. So exactly. So we're not related by the blood. Exactly. But we just loved her so much. But one thing is, she died of the same thing that her mother-in-law died from, my grandma. And they're not related. They're not related by a blood at all, but they died from the same disease because for the 30 plus years they lived in the same house. They drank the same water, they ate the same food, and both of them developed the colon cancer, and both of them died from it.
Yeah, you know what? And I tell people all the time, vegan does not mean healthy. You know, because I eat like crap. I'm not even gonna hold you. I'm a crappy eater.
Sometimes you eat good. I've seen you eat good. You wanted green juice. You wanted.
Oh yeah, I'll eat the good stuff, but I don't cook. So I'm eating fast food most of my life. And so that's what I mean. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm fat. Everybody be like, how do you, I'm like, no, you
explain to people, how can you be vegan?
Right. Yeah, we just eat so good. I just eat it twice. That's really what it is. Like,
and listen, people, bread it's vegan. Most pasta, but French fries it's vegan.
French fries are so vegan and so good. Lemon pepper on fries is vegan. Yeah, I'm eating it, and so I tell people all the time, like, and then we got to remember though, like, it's not just the food; it's everything. The synthetic hair.
It is.
The colognes, the deodorants, the lotions, the shampoos. I try, if it's more than like 5 ingredients, I don't want it. You know, like that's me. My friends know, oh, okay, wait, tea's coming. Let everybody got y'all water, spring water, natural, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I set the tone because I do want to live a certain lifestyle, you know what I mean? Like fat and all. I still want to live as close as a clean lifestyle as I possibly can, for sure.
This was fun, but I do want to go now a little back and ask you some things that you mentioned before, and it sparked some curiosity in me.
Let's do it.
And I think you mentioned that you grew up, you said half Muslim.
Yes.
Well, which side? It's Muslim.
My mom's.
So your mom is Muslim.
She is.
And tell me then your connection with Islam. Did you learn from her? Did you ever?
I learned from all. Because I mean, it was Islam, Christianity on my mom's side, Jehovah's Witness, and Christianity on my dad's side, but major Jehovah's Witness. And so I learned very early listening because I'm a Gemini. I'm a big communicator, but I soak it all in. I'm like, okay, so this is wrong. Oh no, this is right. This is wrong. This is, and I was like, I don't think I want to subscribe to any of them. I remember I was like 16. I was like,
subscribe. I love that.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm removing that subscription. I don't want it because I was just like, my family would go at it about their differences, but the stories all were the same.
Yeah,
and so I'm like, something ain't right.
That's why, like, I really think religion just causes so much pain. And division in between us. Does. And
it's some type of superiority and inferior, like energies. Like, I don't like that we have to. No one's better. No one's right. No one's wrong in this world, in this spiritual world. You know what I mean? Like,
then tell me about your relationship with God.
Yeah. So my relationship now with God looks like is so much deeper now. I even, as far, I'll go to church. I will watch church online because I love the teachings of it, right? But and it's non-denominational. I'm sure it is more Christian based, but the way I connect with God now is through conversation and through the universe, through nature. I'm not looking up, I'm looking within. But having the understanding that God is someone that I can always call on helps me release things that I hold. Even if it's just really me talking to my higher self, I release that burden away, you know? So now I only move with people that move with God in them, you know, or surrounding them. I do believe God is love. And I've asked God, I said, I want people that reflect only you. And in the last couple of years, I've developed lifelong friendships and sisterhoods with people and brotherhoods with people and fellowships with people that reflect the most godliest energy, you know? We're still ourselves, but I mean, I'm being affirmed every which way. I'm being gentle parented, you know what I mean? By the people around me, you know? I've romanticized my relationship with God. It's very intimate as I've romanticized almost every relationship I have now. So I treat God like my boyfriend for real. You know, I need you to take care of me. I need this, you know? No different than my friendships. I take care of just like you're my girlfriend. And so once I started doing that, I started walking. I was going like 75 days strong, working 3 miles a day. And it was like when I was outside, no matter what was going on, I'll cry on the track. I'll do everything. And my day was better. If I stopped walking, I knew I was like off. And I just remember saying, God, I just want you to be with me. Because I've spent years alone up here. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, but there's no connection to any religion.
Yeah, you don't need a book like a Quran or a Bible to have your relationship with God. I like that.
It's very, very specific. It's very one-on-one. Yeah.
And that's what I think it's intended to be, because like all of these books were written by people, and you know, they just want to create division and rule and hurt.
Yeah.
And it has nothing done to me but hurt me. And a lot of times through, especially, you know, me, I knew always I was gay, not like you. Like I feel like I came out and I was like, slay. So exactly. So I always knew, and I struggled for 30 plus years.
Wow.
And I think I'm finally free
damn
from
gay,
that.
baby.
And that's what I want to talk next to you. You are now living in your truth, and you know, as a gay person who just loves the other chicks. But tell me, how did we get to that? And you also mentioned that you were in another abusive relationship after. What happened to the guy you had a son with?
Oh, he passed. He passed last year, actually.
Oh, goodness. I did not know that.
Yeah, he did. Unfortunate. And that's really what started my journey with therapy. I didn't know. You know, we were him and I were, what's the word? Our relationship was indifferent.
You were still in touch, right?
Very little. He never showed up to the hospital, and I held a grudge to him for him, like towards him. We would talk every once in a while, and we would kind of argue, but there was so much love there. But we would just argue about our differences in the situation and how it happened and what should have happened. You know, we both stood very firmly on that disbelief. I mean, not disbelief, on where we stood. And so, but he apologized and I apologized, and I told him, I said, it's all love, it's good. We had talked a year prior to him passing. He passed from congestive heart failure at 34. And we talked a year prior. He called me. He was like, I had just woke up. He had just woke up from a coma. And he said he thought he was dying, and he thought about our son.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that I was then, I hated it because he was telling me everything he was going through. And there was no empathy coming from my end because I went through the same thing. You know, those 2.5 weeks in that hospital where I was dying and almost died alone really shifted who I was. And I only wanted him there, you know? But when he told me, you know, because I had made some videos calling him trash. And he was like, I hear you calling me trash on your videos. I'm like, and, you know, and he did some funny stuff, but we were cool. And so when he passed and I started crying and I was so caught off guard, like, why am I crying? You know? And I mean, it really took me into a depression, him dying, because I had to reopen, like, my indifference with him allowed me to still feel a connection to that day, right? So, like, it kept it alive. It kept us connected. So when he passed, I was like, damn, you can't hate a dead guy. You know? I'm like, you had the nerve to die? You know, like, oh my God, you already did show. Now you gonna die and leave me here, right? And then I was like, oh, I've been grieving for 12 years. I've been like a single mom for 12 years. And I remember just saying, God, like talking to him, I'm so sorry. Because I had to realize after therapy was I loved that man. If it wasn't him, I would have gotten an abortion. It was very specific, like to him. He was a good guy. I trusted him. And I didn't trust many men. I didn't trust no man. But my dad and my guy best friend. Other than that, my uncle. I had three men in my life that I trusted. He was the fourth. And I just remember I was like, oh, my therapist helped me. I was like, I felt betrayed, you know? But once I understood that, then I was like, oh, I loved him, you know? And it just helped me release that. But then it was like, okay, well now y'all together. You know, but I went through such a transition. Like after he passed, I went into like a depression, and then I quit my job. Then I couldn't afford rent, and then I was facing eviction. You know, and I was ready to stop, stand up, social media, all that. I was done. It's like I just want to be regular. I want to disappear. And you know, life shifted because I remember crying to God. My son's birthday's coming up because around November, December, because of the PTSD, I started remember exact dates. I remember the exact dates: November 28th, December 5th, December 6th. I went December 11th, December 3rd. I remember dates, right? And so, come towards the end of November, I started feeling this anxiety and stuff like that. But I remember heading towards my son's 12th birthday. I said, God, I don't want to be sad anymore. Help me, right? Help me. And I had got a call like the day after my son's birthday. I got a call from a friend of my cousin, and she was like, "Hey T, I'm looking for a nanny." And I was like, "Why are you calling me?" And she said, "Yeah, you know, your cousin said she think it'd be a good idea, good for you." Now, mind you, I'm facing eviction. I got to get out next month anyway. And I was like, I still said no. And I was like, how old is he, your son? She said 6 months. I'm like, I'm not taking care of no baby, you know? But I remember she's like, well, just think about it. I want, you know, somebody I trust. And I was like, I'm not good with kids, you know? And so I sat with it, and something about that night, I was sitting there, I was like, God, is this you? You know? And so, long story short, I said yes. And I moved to Boston, which is so ironic she lived in Boston because now I'm going back to where I
Mm-hmm.
remember being in my teenage years, and I get to reconnect with one of my bestest friends in the whole wide world. And I'm taking care of this 6-month-old baby. Mind you, I was 6 months pregnant when my son died. I was like 26 weeks, 27 weeks, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm taking care of this little boy. And I'm crying because I'm like, I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know. And I am like, oh, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And it was supposed to last 6 months. The contract it ended up early. And I was like, I remember falling in love with that kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it became natural. Like, I know what he crying for. Oh, he's good.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Or this. And my friends would be like, look at you with a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it changed my life forever. I got to heal that part of me. And that was only God, because once it was done, it was done.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even grieve as hard as I thought I would, because I was like, I knew it was going to come to an end. But that little boy changed my life.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's beautiful. Tell me about...
Hey, Win.
Good. Tell me about, you mentioned that after that you've been in another relationship that you called abusive. I want to know about that.
Yes, domestic abuse happens in all relationships.
And it was another man again?
No, woman.
Oh,
I was
okay.
never
So
worried
now
about-
we gay finally.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
tell me about that. Like, what was your your awareness of, like, okay, I love women. When's that happening?
Okay, so my first girl I liked I was 19.
Okay.
And I always tell this story. It's funny. It was one of my best friends at the time, and I think I had just started falling for her. I didn't even know I was falling for her. I was just flirting, and I flirt no different than I flirt with everybody, but she was just different. And I remember one time I was eating something, and she was like, feed it to me. So I fed it to her, and she ate off my finger, and I was like, ooh. My body reacted. It had never reacted. Mind you, I had a lot of men. I had never had that feeling. And so I had to make sure it was feeling. So I fed her another one just to be sure. I was like, oh yeah, no, this is a thing. And so my first girlfriend, I didn't start dating one until I was 23. And my first girlfriend I met shortly after my son passed. And I met her through her son, actually. Her son was this real chocolate little boy. And he was so mannerable. And mind you, my heart's just open. I'm just broken at this time. And so I met her. She was in the military. And I just attached myself to them. Because she was such a great mom. And so the little kid in me that didn't have that relationship with moms fell in love with her. And the woman that lost her son fell in love with the son. So everything was trauma bonded for me. And we were good until something shifted for her, because she wasn't gay and she was straight. And something shifted for her, and then it was like, no, we can't be together. But I stayed around because it was just like, I can't let this go. And it just got so bad. It got very abusive. Very abusive. I mean,
physically?
Physically, yeah. I never put my hands on her. I loved her too much. I loved him too much. But I mean,
Was the child present to see things like
once? Once. That's when it started getting bad. But I had busted lip. My hair got pulled down. Black eye. Yeah. It got so bad. I mean, I remember pulling up to my one of my best guy friends' houses, and we had to go to work because we carpooled, and he just gave me a hoodie. We just went to work, and I'll never forget. I love him for that, but just that moment of us playing music and just, he's like, you gotta get out of this. No one knew though. No one knew except for my siblings who had moved in with me. My two little sisters who I love and adore, they moved in and they had to witness it, and they felt. I did it because I was like, it's crazy because the abuse didn't start happening until I let go of my apartment. All right, I'm like, oh, I just had my own apartment. You know what I mean? That's why I always kept it. And she justified a lot of things. And I did too. I was like, yeah, when somebody don't want to talk, don't force them to talk. You know what I mean? It was like, I used to force them to talk, and it still don't give you no right to put your hands on somebody. I should have left, but I mean, I couldn't.
But you eventually did.
Yeah, after I went vegan.
Yeah, I see that'll do things. And you have no contact with that person now at all. Okay,
no
good.
contact.
But does that make you sad because of the son?
No, no more. It used to. I held on for some years. Until she just pretty much told me, yeah, I hate you, and I don't want no parts with you, because I messed up her credit. And so I get that. Trying to get myself straight, you know what I mean? I've always been in sales, always made good money, but then I always quit because it just was not be fulfilling. But really, it's because my purpose is somewhere else. But no, she hated me. She hated my guts, and I was just like, you know what? I was so good to you. And nobody will ever really know everything, But, I walked away clean of that. And so...
What I want to know now is from that 19-year-old you that it's feeling that thing for the girl for the first time to the point you start dating, like, were you, when you realized you were gay, were you immediately okay with it? Were
No.
like, oh, okay, this is fine, or like, oh, there's something wrong with me? Like,
No, not that I felt that it was wrong. So I was just like, what's going on? I don't even know what intimacy looks like, period. I don't know what it's like. Again, everything I thought I knew about relationships was just tainted from my childhood. So when I decided, I was like, it just never went away. And I was like, what is this? And so after some time, I was just like, I'm open to it. Let me see what that looks like. And I yearned for emotional connections. Because with men, it was always physical. It was only physical.
Hey, you said you never basically felt a good connection.
Never what I felt with women. But then also, I have to take into consideration my childhood, right? So my desire to have that emotional bond with a woman caused me to date a lot of people for the wrong reasons. You know what I mean? Once you start healing, and then I don't think I've experienced the most healthiest version of love yet. I'm experiencing it in friendships and stuff. Well, you know what? And I'm now.
Are you dating right now?
I'm not. I am not dating, but I'm open to it. And
So you have someone you have a crush on.
I do have a crush on somebody. Yes.
Okay, that's good.
But also, yes, I have a crush on somebody, and I also have a connection with someone who I do love, that we're not together. But I am learning. I'm learning what I truly want in a relationship, and I'm learning that the right person can bring that out. You know what I mean? And I love it. I love it because I'm now tapping into the very softer version of me. When you're in comedy, you really have to turn it off. Like you have to shut it out. But now I'm opening up in spaces where I'm like, but I told you, I started romanticizing everything. Everything's romantic to me. Even this moment, this is us. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everything.
And I can feel it too.
Right?
Because you're making it that way. See, energy transfers through the damn room. I'm telling you.
I'm a big energy person. And I mean, with anyone. Men, I'm masculine presenting. But when I'm around a man.
That's why I think I feel it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't think like I can, but like with you.
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. And so even with men, I'm not, it's not that I'm not attracted. Men are attractive, right? I'm not blind. But when I'm around a man, I let him be. I turn that energy up. There you go. I'm a little lady. And they be so confused and conflicted. I know. You know what I mean? Because I'm romanticizing everything. And so right now, while I'm in this space, I'm getting to really tap into it, and it makes me feel invincible. It makes me feel so It's so empowering when you start connecting with things that really make you happy and people that really talk your language. I'm being affirmed in so many ways from everyone that I'm connected with. It's a beautiful thing. My social media is reflecting it. Everything. People are falling in love with me, and it's because I'm falling in love with myself. You know what I mean? So,
oh, that's beautiful. I really love that you're saying all of those things. But I do want to ask you also, was all your family accepting of you coming out as gay and like dating women now? And how was that journey?
My accepting, not so much in the very beginning, but that was some. For the most part, everybody was pretty much aware.
It seems like you were the last one who found out.
Correct. And so, but then it was still, once you said it out loud, it was like,
it's different.
I don't really, And mind you, my family is Muslim and Jehovah's Witness. My grandma, my granny on my dad's side, she loves everybody. God bless her soul. She loved everyone. And she just was like, well, the Bible said, but I love you, but the Bible said, My Muslim side, they was just like, I don't know if we want that around, and I had to have conversations with them. Because education is a thing. I was the first gay person on my mama's side for the most part. They never had to deal with it. And so I'm a very tolerable gay. I'm a very like you can swallow me respectfully. You know what I mean? It's not hard to swallow. And it's because I went from having a kid to now I'm dating women. You know what I mean? And so my family adjusted very well.
Okay, so they adjusted. Let's say like maybe not well. Accepted, but adjusted.
Right, they adjusted very well. They love me more than they care about my lifestyle. Now, will they come to my wedding?
Would that hurt you though?
No.
Good for you.
I've been married before.
And no one came, so it's like it's okay then.
Well, just so my friends came. None of my family was there except for my dad. My dad welcomed me. My dad was there.
So we were married to a woman.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
I know, right? I've lived the life of like.
So does that happening after the relationship you had with
abusive relationship?
The abusive relationship, you entered another relationship with a woman and you got married.
A couple of it was like 2 relationships after. Like one, 2.
But one of them you end up in a marriage, and
she was my 3rd girlfriend.
Okay, and how long did the marriage lasted?
3 months.
Oh goodness! Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, I was like thinking you're counting years. How you look like you were like
days.
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
I was counting days. I was like, okay, we got married. We separated like 3 months after, and we divorced officially like almost a year after.
But so, why you think was that? Do you marry too quick or?
I don't know. There's so many things there. I wasn't prepped. I had a lot of. We had moved. We were not ready.
Okay.
But the love was there. I don't take that away from her. She's a mother of 2 kids. She got to get herself together. Me, I'm flying. I'm like, free, and I never really had any structure in anything. And so then now we're arguing. And you put that on top of us being broke. It's a recipe for disaster. And so she rightfully so chose herself, But we're still very close.
Oh, you're still in touch?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
I love my
ex-wife. Do you refer to her ex-wife? Okay,
that's her name on my phone, ex-wife.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, because she was the first woman I ever crushed on. Like crushed. Like, you see somebody and you get nervous. I love that girl.
Did divorce hurt you?
It was so sad. I went through such a deep sadness. And, everybody was like, well, it was too soon. I'm like, to this day, I don't regret it. To this day, I married her for a reason.
No, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, no.
But you've been through a lot. Like, there was so much to talk about, but we're almost running out of time. And I don't want us to run out of time without mentioning like this current success that we are all seeing. And it's just so incredible. As I said, you are everywhere doing all of these amazing things. I do want to talk about, because I thought it was such an interesting story. One of your most viral videos is with your grandfather. And you recorded that video, and originally you were not gonna post it, right? Tell me about it.
Yes. So my grandfather was in a hospital, and him and I have only said hey and bye. Right? We never had deep conversations at all. And so my uncle said, "Hey, let's go see Pops." I'm like, okay, cool. So we sitting there, I'm like, "How you feeling?" He had just got a pacemaker in, or had a heart surgery, and everything was good. It said his chest was hurting. He said, "It only hurts until I drink ginger ale." So ginger ale was his thing that fixed everything. Black people, I guess it does work. And so, I wasn't going to. At first, I was going to do the video because I had been doing it with my great aunt, and people loved it. You know what I mean? And it was really just showing, like, hey, make the time for your elders and make them smile. And I believe in that wholeheartedly. And so we were about to leave, wrapped up 15 minutes. We were there for about 15 minutes. And then my uncle said, "Okay, let's say a prayer." So I grabbed my granddaddy's hand. And I think that was the first time I held his hand, you know? And as we're praying, I hear, "Do the video." And so I said, "Granddaddy, I'm going to do this video before we leave. You just sit in the back." I had my uncle barely know how to use a phone at all. And then I did it. And and it just blew up. It blew up. He was sitting there back there kind of laughing like how you always do. And he passed like a day and a half later, almost 2 days later.
From that video.
After that video, he passed away. And we didn't expect it. Mind you, he's old. He got bad heart, got it. But we didn't expect him to pass. We thought it was just a regular checkup and all that. And he passed 2 days later. And one of my most viral videos, I think it did like 16 million views or something like that. And I was just like, wow, you never know. You just never know. It's just a dance. You know, it's not even my dance. It's my version of the dance. You know, but and so I've done it with almost every elder. I dancing is so important to me. It's my second love, dancing and music. And so I get to combine it and make a funny caption with the comedy part. And it's a beautiful thing. And I see people doing it, but like paying me homage, you know what I'm saying? Because of the way I do it. I love it. I just seen somebody do it. He was like, when my wife's having contractions and he was doing the dance. I was like, yeah. So it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Wonderful. And now it's just, you attracted so much audience. You are having hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers, and millions of views and likes and comments.
I just did the math. This, from the first time I did the video this year, the dance this year to now, because I think I did it in like March or something like that. 80 million views just on Instagram alone.
Oh, wow.
80 million.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
A lot. My most viral out of everything, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Millions more, billions.
Come on, billions.
Are coming
we want
your
the
way.
Billions. Yeah.
I'm extremely excited for all the magic that you've been creating.
Thanks,
Tell people how to connect with you, where to follow you, where to find you.
You guys can follow me at T Sanders Comedy, TEE Sanders Comedy, and everywhere.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And I'm a follower. I'm a fan.
Yeah, so I'm a follower. I'm a fan.
I love what you're doing, and I just cannot wait to see more of you, because future looking really bright.
Oh, God willing.
Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you would like to say?
Oh, no. When was it? Actually, when is this video?
2 weeks after the show. You have already had the show in Chicago.
Well, you guys should stay tuned, because I will be doing one-nighters in different cities. I'm back doing stand-up, so and connected with people on the stage. So I'm really excited. And then this book,
a book where they can find a book.
Listen,
it's still not official.
Still not official yet, but y'all can follow the Instagram. No, I'm vegan.
Perfect.
On Instagram.
Yeah, my audience will know. I'll post on my Instagram too when this is available.
I just was waiting for the perfect time, but it's like the time is now.
We should do a book launch day at the Kill My Name for you to sign.
That would be so great.
I
Yes,
would
let's
love
do
to.
this. I think
Yeah.
I think it's time now. I think my son said, "Let's do it."
Uh, oh, whenever you're ready, I would love to host you
I love
and
that.
do the book signing, and we'll prepare some vegan food and
Yes, let's get
create a little
it.
celebration for this wonderful book. Well, listen, I cannot thank you enough for sharing a beautiful story, so many different aspects of your life, and there's so much more we didn't even cover. Which does make me happy in a sense because that means you'll just be back one
Gotta
day.
come back and do it again. Yeah.
Yes, and we talk about a lot of other stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, babe. Thank you for having me.
Oh, what a extraordinary story. This is really out of ordinary. So now you understand why I call podcast this way, because these stories are just so incredible, and they are really inspiring me every time. I learn so much, and it just brings me some calmness, and also but the joy and happiness. And even when we share sad stories, it inspires me in some way to move forward and just to be grateful for the life and everything that we have. And I really hope you've been inspired today and blessed as much as I was. I cannot wait to see you the next time. And remember, if anyone tells you that you are too much, you'll tell them to go and find less. I love you.